All right, everyone, it's your boy Fernie here, back with another new Urban Legends video. Once again, from the website urbanlegendsonline.com. And once again, this one has to do with a brand new urban legend. Never heard of this one before, so when I was reading the information on it, it was the very first time I came across it. I thought I would easily share it with everyone here and to give my thoughts and opinions on it. There's bound to be some of you out there, though, that have heard of this urban legend before. It seems like a lot of these urban legends are more regional. So certain parts of the country here will have heard of them, others haven't, maybe even in other parts of the world. So if you have, let me know, post it in the comments below. But it has a very short title as well. It's simply called Flipbook. So let's go ahead and let's share all the info here. I'll again give my thoughts and opinions. Let me know what you guys and gals think as well. So here's what it says. As a kid, I loved making flipbooks. They were all I did in art class whenever I had the chance. I worked really hard on one particular flipbook that was around 50 pages long, I guess. It had a simple stick figure that would walk onto the page, wave at me, and then just simply walk off. I looked at it dozens of times on the day that I made it, but eventually I got bored. I mean, once it was finished, it just wasn't something that can keep someone entertained for long. So I tossed it under my bed and never gave it a second thought. A few months later, I was cleaning up my room and swept the stack of paper out from under the corner of my bed. I couldn't quite remember what it was. I flipped through it once more, and as I was flipping, I noticed that the pages hadn't worn out at all. So I flipped through it again. The little stick man walked onto the page, but this time he didn't walk off. Instead, a second stick man walked on with something in his hand. He walked up to the first stick man and whacked the poor fellow on the head. The first stick man fell, and the second stick man swung to hit the first stick man again and again and again. And so blood ran from the first stick man's jagged body. It looked like nothing more than a smeared pencil stain. The killer stickman proceeded to bend down and tear apart the first stickman's body, limb by thin limb. He bent each line into letters and then set them up upon the page to form a single word. Then grabbed the base of his own round head and tore it off, followed by his legs and then one of his own arms. His zigzagged body parts formed a second word. What I read made me burn the book. It said, "You're next." Then that's it. That's everything associated with this urban legend. So let's talk about that here. Wow, what a twist, right? It definitely went down a different avenue towards the end of this urban legend. I certainly wasn't expecting that the first time I was reading it. Everyone did flip books way back when, right? I remember doing some as well. It was one of those things where you would just draw something on a page, draw it again on the next page, move it a little bit here and there, and then just see what comes about afterwards. It was a fun little activity, so it seemed like this was the urban legend tied to this tradition as well. Whoever this was that did it, obviously they did one involving a flip book of a stick man just walking off the page as they did so, waving back at the viewer. But then they decided to look at it again after a couple of months of forgetting about it within their bedroom, and then that's when obviously things took a different turn. Now this flip book seemed to have formed its own life. Something else took over the flip book, decided to draw its own story, and it took a very, very sinister turn towards the end. Whatever it was that did it decided to create a second stick man to basically do what they did to the first stick man, just basically clobbered them pretty much right then and there, and then tore them apart. And then interestingly enough, they decided to tear themselves apart only to form a set of words, and that way it was saying, "You're next." Obviously, whatever it was that was doing this flip book, this entity of some sort, was doing it in a way to make sure that this person, the viewer, could see that it was directed to them. Who knows why? Who knows why that's the case? There's always some apparent truth to urban legends. So if someone truly had this experience and they passed it along to someone else, and then that person passed it along to someone else, and then it grew into this urban legend that's listed right now, somewhere along the way, apparently someone did a flip book that came alive on its own. Does anyone know if this type of urban legend ever made it into some kind of movie? If it ever made it into some kind of TV show? Maybe something horror, something paranormal related? Let me know in the comments below. But that's pretty much it. That's all the information associated with it. Does anybody have any more info? Anybody remember this urban legend from way back when? Anybody hear any variations of it as well? Again, let me know in the comments. All right, everyone. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.